right, we're now moving into percentages. When we're dealing with percentages, you need to remember that the root word of percentages is cent. What is a cent? All right, cents, we have a cent right here, okay? Cents is the best way to think about percentages. There are 100 cents in a dollar, so 100 cents equals $1. Oops, okay? And so let's move straight into this problem, converting percentages into fractions and decimals. Very, very simple. To do this, to convert a percentage into fraction, all we need to do is divide by 100. That's it. Okay? Here it says we can write the percentage with the denominator of 100 and then express it in its lowest terms. Blah, 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 blah. Let's look at this example here. We have 115%. That is kind of like saying 115 cents. And we need to put that into a fraction. Well, 115%, we see they write it as a fraction with 100 underneath. 115 over 100. Now, they divide that fraction by the biggest common factor, which is 5. And as a fraction, turning 115% into a fraction, we're going to get 23 over 30. This brings us, as you see, into going from, this is where we really need to know our fractions. You really need to remember how to simplify a fraction. Okay, you have 15 over 20. How can we simplify that? I always like to, well, what do they have in common? The biggest number they have in common is 5. 5 goes into 15. 5 also goes into 20. 5 goes into 15 3 times. 5 goes into 20 4 times. There we go. 3 over 4. So 15 over 20 is 3 over 4. Okay, this is just a review of fractions, and that's exactly what we have to do here. Here we have another little tricky one, 12.5%. Okay. What do we do with 12.5%? And well, again, they did it. They took that number and they actually turned it into an improper fraction and divided it by 100. Let's look at what exactly happened here. First of all, 12 1/2. Okay, this is what we call a mixed fraction. So they took it to an improper fraction. All right, here's a mixed fraction. So to take it to an improper fraction, we simply multiply the 2 by the 12, and then we add the 1 to the 12. Okay, so basically as a fraction, what this looks like is going to be 2 as the denominator on the top will be 2 times 12 plus 1. What this equals is 25 over 2. Okay, again, we're going from a mixed fraction to an improper fraction. An improper fraction is when the number on top, the numerator, is bigger than the denominator. Okay, here we see that 25 is much bigger than the 2. Now we have a fraction, 25 over 2. Okay, and then we simply divide it by 100. Yes, and if you remember me standing on my hands in the classroom, right, here's my arms, here's my head. I did that, if you recall, because we do not divide fractions. We multiply the reciprocal. And here you can see they took 25 over, divided by 25 over 2, divided by 100. And they took that 100 and they flipped it and they multiplied it and put the 100 on the bottom with the 1 on top. And now we simply just multiply it right across, and you're going to have 12 over 200. And if you simplify that, that will be 1 over 8. Okay, now this is really simple. Remember we said percentages, and the root word of a percent is cent. Okay? Now I'm going to ask you to write $1.50. Go ahead and write $1.50. Pause and write $1.50. You should have written it like this. Here's $1.50. Now I want you to pause, and I want you to write 55 cents. Just go ahead and write 55 cents as a decimal. Okay, it should have been 0.55, right? Now I want you to write 5 cents as a decimal. Go ahead and write 5 cents as a decimal. It should look like this. We have $1.50. Okay, here we have 55 cents. Here we have 5 cents. If you remember this, it really helps. We have our problem here, 88%. 88% is the same as 88 cents. How do we write 88 cents? 0.88. Okay, here we have 116 cents. 116 cents. How do we write that? Well, 116 cents, if that was money, 116%, if that was money, it would be 116 cents. If we wrote 116 cents, that would actually be $1.16. Okay, and we would write it like this. The trick is, if that is too difficult for you, what this gentleman says here is also a simple way of doing it, and that is simply, here we have our percent. You want to turn it into a decimal. All you got to do is take the decimal, move it over twice, and we have our answer, which will be 0.88. Okay? If we have 5%, we simply take our decimal, we move it over twice here, and we're going to have 0.05. So our answer as a decimal of would be 0.05. Okay, so let's take these problems, which are straight from the book. These problems here, number 1 and 2, A, E, and I, A, E, and I, come from both this page and this page. So let's look at the directions. Write as a fraction in the lowest term. So again, number 1, okay, the problems in number 1 are dealing with the first page, taking a percentage and turning it into a fraction. How do we do that? We divide it by 100. Let's do it. 55%. Well, 55%, okay, is the same as 55% is the same as 55 over 100. Now we simply simplify this fraction. What goes into both 55 and 100? I always like to draw a giant one. Which is the biggest number that goes into both 55 and 100? Well, we know 5 does. 5 goes into 55 11 times. 5 goes into 100 20 times. And I don't think we can make that smaller. So our answer for number A is 11 over 20. Okay, let's try number E. And I want you to pause the video and try number E and try number I. E and I. Okay, let's see how we did here. I'll walk you through it. 72%, okay, is the same as 72 over 100. Now, what number goes into both 72 and 100? Well, I don't know right now, but I'm just going to say, I know 2 goes into both because they're both even. 2 goes into 72 36 times. 2 goes into 150 times. Now we know that 2 goes into both 36 and 50. 2 goes into 36. Actually, let me erase this. Okay. We know 2 goes into 36 18 times. And 2 goes into 50 25 times. And I believe we have got to the smallest fraction because 18 is even, 25 is odd. So 72% in as a fraction in the lowest term is 18 over 25. Let's do 33 1/3. Okay, 33 1/3. Let's take this from a mixed fraction to an improper fraction, and we do this by multiplying 3 times 33 plus 1 over 3, which equals 67/2. We take 67/2 and we divide it by 100, or we multiply it by the reciprocal of 100, putting 100 on the bottom. What do we have now? We have 67/200. Unless I'm mistaken, I believe 67/200 is actually as far as we can take it. I think this is the smallest it is. Okay, so we have 67/200, which is the fraction in the lowest term. All right, we have number 2. Now number 2 should be very easy for you. Simply write these as a decimal. 48% as a decimal. I want you to pause, and I want you to go ahead and do those 3 questions right now. Okay, 48% should be 0.48. We simply move the decimal over twice to get 0.48. 4.9 should be 0.049 because we move the decimal over twice. And 1000% should be 10 because we move the 0 over twice to there. Okay, another way again to look at this is 48% is the same as 48 cents. 4.9 cents is the same as, right? And 1,000 cents would be the same as $10. Okay? Please take careful notes. Your tutorial notes, if they are good, will be very useful for you because you can use them in any summative. All right? So please take good tutorial notes.